More than 6 months after the passing of Sitaram Yechury, General Secretary of the CPIM and a hugely respected political figure in India, the party has elected Politburo member MABB to the post. MABB is a known and popular public figure. He started young as a student leader. He was jailed during the emergency. He's one of the youngest MPs to be in the Rajya Sabha, and he was later elected as MLA twice from Kundara in Kerala. He also had 5 eventful years as a Minister for Culture and Education in Kerala. He was also instrumental in bringing the Biennale to Kochi. We have MABB here with us to give us an interview on taking up his new role as the CPIM's General Secretary. This is a huge responsibility that's fallen on your shoulders now, taking up the role of General Secretary of the CPIM. What was your immediate reaction when you heard the news, and were you mentally prepared for it?
Yeah, in fact, this is a huge responsibility, but it is not just on my shoulder alone. We have a 18-member Politburo and 85-member Central Committee, and we have nearly 90,000 party branches throughout the country and over 1 million party members. And there are various class and mass organizations in which around 50 million members are there, in trade unions, in Kisan Sabha, youth, student, women's organizations. In this organization, all those members, 50 million people, are not members of my party, but members of my party, CPIM. They are working in this trade union organization, Kisan Sabha, women's organization, so on. So organizationally, when you consider all these factors, the task that our party CPIM is called upon to discharge, that task would be shouldered by hundreds of thousands of comrades. So even though if I think that this is a huge responsibility as a General Secretary, I do think that, and it is an intimidating, process of thinking. But immediately I remember that all these units are there. My colleagues in the Politburo, they are there, in Central Committee, and lakhs of party members are there. So we function collectively. Therefore, it is not very difficult, we hope, to discharge these responsibilities.
You are filling a huge void left behind by Sitaram Yechury. So what are the biggest challenges that you think lay ahead of you?
You see, the fact that our friend and comrade Yechury is not around is an irreparable loss. The fact that had he been alive, he would have continued in the Politburo along with us. Because now only those who have completed 75 years would step down from major responsibilities. So our party Congress, that is the All India 3-yearly forum of our party, has very clearly delineated the tasks to be discharged. The first task is to see that a broadest possible platform is evolved and developed and strengthened to fight against the fascistic RSS controlled BJP government at the center and many of the Indian states, including the very important and large state of Uttar Pradesh and other North Indian states. This is the first task. Second task is to strengthen the independent influence and striking power of Communist Party of India, Marxist primarily, and other left and democratic forces. That is the second task, which is related to the first task. Only if we develop this independent strength of the party and the left, the fight against fascistic RSS and the political party BJP controlled by RSS will be effective. Then we have to develop local struggles on livelihood issues. We have to strengthen various class and mass organizations working among various sections of society. Then we will have to develop the effective tools to fight the Hindutva authoritarian corporate nexus, which is in control of Indian state, and the poisonous communal ideology, which is being injected into the various cells of Indian society. Like human body is with cells, Indian society is also with cells. This communal poison is being injected by fascistic RSS into every cell of Indian society. To detoxify Indian society of this communal poison is a task which needs protracted struggle, cultural struggle, philosophical struggle, ideological struggle, political and economic struggle. This we will have to develop. These are the main tasks that is cut out for us.
And there's also the India bloc, the India alliance that was formed for this exact same purpose. You spoke about it in your previous press conferences, and you said that there's not been a meeting of the India alliance after the Lok Sabha elections last year. But what do you foresee for the alliance, and what kind of changes would you like to see happen within the alliance for it to work better towards its goals?
You see, we view this political arrangement as India bloc. If we call it an alliance, then in Delhi Capital Territory region election, those who are in the alliance, they fought each other. You see, two major components of India bloc, they were fighting the Delhi election in a triangular, fight of BJP and allies on the one side, then the ruling Aam Aadmi Party, which is part of the India bloc, on the other, then Congress. This mutual fight also helped the BJP to win. So we have been calling it an India bloc, not an alliance. But political parties in this bloc, in some states they are in alliance. For example, in Tamil Nadu, we are all in alliance. We are fighting BJP together along with DMK, Congress and other parties, and both communist parties are also there in that alliance. In some other places, it's only understanding. So, India bloc functions in a peculiar manner because of the complex nature of Indian politics. Our view is that India bloc needs to be strengthened. Then India bloc should be strengthened with some political perspective of fighting against fascistic RSS and their allies. We should have an uncompromising fight against various forms of communalism. You see, communalism is represented not only in RSS. There are certain minority communal forces also in our country. See, those minority communal forces are not as dangerous as fascistic RSS, no doubt about that. But fascistic RSS is getting justification from these minority extremist forces also, communal forces also. This we want to underline. Then with regard to the economic policy, various non-left parties in the India bloc, they are not sufficiently clear. So while being part of the India bloc, we also make this friendly criticism within the India bloc. We wish and hope that India bloc would be strengthened, revived and strengthened, and CPIM won't be found wanting in contributing towards making the India bloc an active political entity.
You also spoke about women's representation within the party. You said that there's been a small increase in the membership in the Central Committee, but you would like to see more women being represented. But while addressing that, I would also like to ask you about caste representation within the party. It was only fairly recently that the first Dalit person was elected to Politburo, Ramchandra Dung. So, while you address women's representation within the party, will you also be looking at caste representation?
You see, our approach is that the social reality in our society should be reflected in different levels of the party. And we consciously try for that, like bettering the gender equality being, manifested in various party committees. The depressed sections of society, those sections who are being marginalized, party feels that they should be identified and they should be helped to develop them so that they can be integrated into the leading committees of the party. This we are trying to do systematically, consciously, continuously. And there is some result. But it's not a question of deciding that at least this percentage should be there from various depressed classes like that. That's not our approach. We should ensure that their representation should reflect the social reality. Women constitute generally 50%, and their marginalization is evident very much. There is some difference between the neglect that women suffer and the neglect that various social groups suffer. The neglect is serious. No section should suffer such neglect. But so far as women are concerned, they deserve to be 50% at least. Then when we deal with this gender question, we also see women belonging to minority communities, they should be identified and promoted. Women belonging to depressed classes, they should also be identified and promoted. And comrades and people from depressed classes as such, they are also being identified, and we try to promote them whenever we get opportunity to do so.
Coming to Kerala, what are your thoughts about the CPIM-led government coming to power for a third consecutive term in the state? Will that affect party organization?
We are anticipating a very positive reaction from the people in favor of the LDF getting an extension to the second term. That is, we hope that we would be winning a third term. But I would like to clarify, you said coming to power. We would say, I would like to say coming to office, because the real power lies with the central government. Of course, we enjoy relative power, restricted power. Therefore, it is safer to say that coming to the state government rather than saying coming to power. We hope so, because the LDF government led by Comrade Pinarayi Vijayan has tried to develop a left alternative within the limitations of the state government, with the fiscal, torture that the central government is inflicting on the state government. Still, the state government is trying its best to ensure welfare measures, to develop a different paradigm shift in the infrastructure development of the state. So that I hope people would recognize and approve.
That's also a question of leadership, of the party leadership in Kerala. Will Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan be in charge of the leadership? And how do you also address this criticism that the CPIM is hugely dependent on this one leader in Kerala?
You asked the two questions together, whether Pinarayi Vijayan would continue to lead the LDF in Kerala. He has been a very successful leader from the Communist Party of India, Marxist. As the state party secretary, you see, he has ensured the victory in 2006. And when he was a minister in E.K. Nayanar government, he resigned his responsibility as a minister to take up the responsibility of the party secretary. So he has a glorious tradition of being more loyal to party than showing interest in continuing as a minister. So when he is giving an effective leadership, who has set a record by ensuring continuity of the government led by him, the natural choice in the next elections within an year would be that Comrade Pinarayi Vijayan should be in the leadership position in the assembly election. And we hope the people understand the good things, the creditable achievements of the LDF government, and people would give their stamp of approval for a third term. As and when people approve the victory for the LDF, we will meet and we will have to take a decision as to who should lead the new government. That is to be decided when people give the approval for a third government. We are not, you asked, sorry, I have to say a few words too, because you asked whether you are totally dependent on leader. You see, we used to have big leaders like EMS, AKG. Then, so far as the leadership of the government is concerned, we had E.K. Nayanar, V.S. Achyutanandan. So leaders would emerge extra acceptance and respect when they discharge responsibility as a chief minister, because you would be very visible. But this does not mean that any visible leader, widely accepted and respected leader, he is running the show single-handedly. No. We have our state secretariat and state committee. We have our Politburo and central committee. Every government led by CPIM leaders, they take guidance from the party at different levels. In state committee, they submit themselves to the criticism of committee members. So it is not that Comrade Pinarayi Vijayan does everything single-handedly. He is the leader, no doubt about that, but he works on the basis of the collective decision of the party leadership at different levels.
Do you think it will affect the party organization when the party continuously comes to office, as you say?
There are possibility when you are continuously in office. There will be the possibility of some alien tendencies which a working class party, a communist party won't accept and tolerate. Such alien tendencies may creep in. The possibilities are there. Foreseeing this possibility, we have a system of every party committee analyzing the work of those who are in the parliamentary front as well as in the party front on the basis of criticism and self-criticism. We encourage free and frank discussion. Then we do have another mechanism, that is rectification campaign within the party. Rectification of mistakes, aberrations, and shortcomings. If we are able to do both this, criticism and self-criticism in party committees, then implementing the rectification campaign effectively, we are sure that we can ward off the possibility of anti-working class tendencies and value concepts creeping into our party organization and into comrades of our party.
Is that what you mean by alien tendencies?
Alien tendencies which a working class party should not have. The desire to get position, the desire to get more wealth, more luxury, hedonistic tendencies. These are all alien tendencies, unlike working class values.
Also, you spoke about reaching out more proactively to the youth in the country and about regaining lost ground in Bengal and Tripura. How do you plan to do that? What do you have a new strategy for that?
You see, to reach out to youth, we should understand the aspirations, the anxieties, and the language of the youth. You see, and we have to understand the changes that is taking place in the ethos of youth. See, in that we have to train ourselves better. So whereas the setbacks that we suffered in Bengal and Tripura are concerned, we had our state conferences in both the states where we had threadbare discussion. And the state conferences in Bengal and Tripura have come out with certain concrete plan of action, activating our party, class and mass organization, recruiting youngsters, and various other organizational steps to deal with the difficult situation. There is semi-fascist terror in Tripura in a big scale. There are physical assaults and attacks happening in West Bengal also. But we have had the experience of overcoming such negative situations in Bengal. For example, in the early 70s, there was semi-fascist terror in Bengal. Nearly 1,400 or more of our cadres were murdered by Congress, semi-fascist groups of Congress, to even some Naxalite groups. But in 1977 election, we staged a wonderful comeback, which is part of history. This time in Bengal, there is a delay in our comeback. But sooner than later, we are sure that we would come back in Bengal too, like in Tripura.
And there was also a report, I think, after the state congress that the party will try to be more welcoming in matters of faith to reach out more to believers. Is that something you'll be working on as well?
Yes, you are right. Our party congress discussed about the approach towards believers. This is something during the time of the first international, that is in 1864, more than a century ago. You see, I repeat, 1864, first international of Working Men's Association was founded by Marx, Engels, and this Bakunin, Mikhail Bakunin was there in first international. So Bakunin said that membership to first international can be granted only those workers who are atheists, who are non-believers. Then Marx and Engels said, wrong. You cannot say that. We should give membership to all workers, all laborers who are willing to work and struggle for the betterment of the life of the workers. You should not put your belief system as a criteria. So this is an issue settled by Marx himself. Lenin also repeated this. So we follow that, but some of our comrades mistake dialectical and historical materialism is something which we should keep on repeating like a prayer. No. Dialectical and historical materialism, you can take study classes for advanced courses, those who join the party. But when you build the party, every believer in God and religion should be given opportunity to join the party, provided they are willing to work for the Communist Party. This is our approach. So long and short, we have decided that there is religiosity very strong in India. So communal forces are trying to misuse the religiosity of the people to attract religious people into communal outfits, even communal terrorist outfits. What we propose from the 24th Party Congress is that religious-minded people should be taken along with you in your fight against communal misuse of religion. Religious believers are not communal-minded people. We should not leave them to communal forces. We should mobilize believers in the fight against communalism. This is a very important task our party congress has evolved.
I think I'll end this on a lighter note. I mean, your name has been a target of many puns over the years. Even for this news, I saw one headline as CPM is making baby steps. So what are some of the worst puns that you had to endure through the years?
You see, I in fact love my name because everybody says that is a loving name. Nobody can have enmity with a baby. No one can ignore a baby. And everybody would listen to the words of a baby. So I hope with this note that I think myself and my party now has an advantage that a baby is part of the leadership of the party. So there is no family without a baby. There is no society without a baby. Therefore, I will have entry and access to every family and every society and every segment of our country.
Thank you so much for your time, sir, and all the best for your new role.
Thank you. It is the contrary. I thank you for having given me this opportunity to discuss some important matters related to the future of our country.
We do a lot of video reports and in-depth stories at TNM. If you'd like to support us, please do subscribe to the News Minute and become a member.